The night began like any other on the quiet countryside farm, wrapped in the calm rhythm of sleeping animals and the soft whisper of wind through dry grass. The moon hung low, pale and watchful, casting long shadows across the wooden barns that had stood strong for generations. Inside one of those barns slept a herd of sheep, huddled together for warmth, unaware that within minutes their world would turn into a battlefield between life and death. No alarm sounded. No humans stirred. Only one soul sensed that something was terribly wrong. The dog's name was Max. Max had lived on the farm since he was a pup, raised among the animals he protected. He knew every sound, every smell, every movement of the land. When the faint scent of smoke slipped into the night air, it struck him like a warning bell. His ears lifted, his body stiffened, and his instincts ignited. Smoke was not a normal smell. Smoke meant danger. Smoke meant fire. He bolted from his sleeping spot, paws pounding against the dirt as he ran toward the barn. What he saw made him freeze for half a heartbeat. Flames had already begun crawling along the side of the structure, fed by dry wood and hay. The fire crackled hungrily, spreading faster with every second. Thick black smoke rolled into the night sky, swallowing the stars. Inside the barn, the sheep stirred restlessly, confused and frightened by the heat and noise. Max didn't hesitate. He charged forward, barking with a force that shattered the silence of the night. His bark was not random, it was sharp, urgent, commanding. The sheep panicked, pressing against one another, unsure where to go. Fire roared louder, sparks flying like glowing insects. The barn door was partially closed, and smoke had begun to choke the air inside. Max ran straight into the danger. Heat scorched his fur as he pushed through the smoke, coughing but refusing to retreat. He darted back and forth, nipping gently at the sheep, barking directly into their ears, driving them toward the open exit. The animals resisted at first, frozen by fear, but Max was relentless. He circled them like a living shield, guiding, pushing, hurting with every ounce of strength he had. Outside, the flames surged higher. The roof groaned under the pressure of the fire, beams cracking like thunder. Burning embers rained down, igniting patches of grass nearby. Time was running out. Max sprinted back inside again and again, each trip more dangerous than the last. Smoke burned his lungs, ash clung to his fur, and his eyes watered until the world blurred. Still, he refused to stop. One by one, the sheep began pouring out of the barn, stumbling into the open field. Their terrified bleats filled the air, but they were alive. Max stayed behind, counting in his own way, sensing that not all were safe yet. He dashed deeper into the barn and found a group trapped in a corner, blocked by falling debris. Flames licked the walls beside them. Max barked louder than ever. He pushed himself between fire and flock, using his body to block the heat while forcing the sheep to move. The ceiling above creaked ominously. A burning beam crashed down just feet away, sending sparks exploding through the air. Max leapt back, narrowly avoiding the impact, then lunged forward again, refusing to abandon the last of the herd. Outside, the farmer finally woke to the sound of frantic barking and distant crackling. He ran toward the barn, horror filling his chest as he saw the inferno. Just as he feared it was too late, he saw movement through the smoke. Sheep burst from the doorway, followed by a dark shape, Max, staggering but still standing. Moments later, the barn collapsed in a deafening roar. Flames shot skyward as the roof caved in, sending a wave of heat across the field. The farmer dropped to his knees, overwhelmed by what he had just witnessed. Every single sheep stood alive in the field. Not one was left behind. Max collapsed onto the grass, his body trembling, sides heaving as he struggled to breathe. The farmer ran to him, tears cutting paths through the soot on his face. Max's fur was singed, his paws burned, but his eyes remained open, watching the herd he had saved. Even in pain, his tail thumped weakly against the ground. He had done his job. Firefighters arrived soon after, but the real hero had already won the battle. As dawn broke, the farm stood scarred but alive. The barn was gone, reduced to smoking ruins, but the animals grazed quietly in the early morning light. Max lay wrapped in blankets, receiving care, his injuries serious but not life-threatening. The vet later said that if he had made even one fewer trip into that burning barn, the outcome would have been very different. News of the rescue spread quickly. Neighbors, then towns, then the entire internet began sharing Max's story. People watched the security footage in disbelief, seeing the dog run back into the flames again and again when any other creature would have fled. Comments poured in, calling him an angel, a guardian, a true hero. But Max didn't know any of that. He only knew that his family, his herd, was safe. In the weeks that followed, the farmer rebuilt, helped by donations from strangers moved by Max's courage. A new fire-resistant barn was constructed, stronger than the last. At its entrance, a small plaque was placed, engraved with simple words, "Saved by loyalty." Max returned to his duties once healed, limping slightly but proud. He still watched over the sheep every night, ears alert, heart devoted. The fire had taken wood and stone, but it could not touch the bond between a dog and those he protects. Sometimes, late at night, when the wind carries strange smells across the fields, Max lifts his head and scans the darkness. Not out of fear, but out of love. Because heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes, they walk on four legs, bark into the flames, and choose courage when no one is watching. And on that night, when fire tried to steal everything, a dog named Max stood in its path, and won.